व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। नमः पङ्कजनाभाय नमः पङ्कजमालिने नमः पङ्कजनेत्राय नमस्ते पङ्कजाङ्ग्रये। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। सर्वेभ्यो नमः। सर्वेषां कृते स्वागतम्। श्रीशुक उवाच एकदा गृहदासीषु यशोदानन्दगेहिनी कर्मान्तरनियुक्तासु निर्ममन्थ स्वयं दधि. So this is a scene in the house of Nanda where Sri Shuka is describing, Shukamuni is describing to Parikshit. Once when Mother Yashoda was churning butter, so she decided that today I will myself churn the butter or churn the buttermilk and produce butter. So she began to churn and she let her servants go away. Karmantara niyuktasu. She put her servants into other activities. She delegated other activities to them and she began to churn the buttermilk herself to create butter. So when this is happening, yani yani ha gitani tatpala charitani cha dadhi nirmanthane kale smaranti tanyagayata. So as she was churning the buttermilk, she began to remember the wonderful activities that her child Krishna had performed earlier. Bala Charitani, his various activities, his character, and she began to sing songs. Remembering those activities, she began to sing and describe them as she was churning the buttermilk. So she was completely absorbed in the pleasure of remembering Krishna's earlier activities, his character, and so on. So at that time, it's described by Vyasdev ji how she appeared. She's a very charming woman. The hair on her, I mean, the flowers in her hair were actually, as she was churning, because of the movement of her hands, she was sweating and her eyebrows were shaking and the hair in her, I mean, the flowers in her hair were falling down and so on. So she was completely absorbed in the work. At that time, baby Krishna comes to her and he seeks her milk. He wants to drink her milk. So he climbs onto her lap and he demands for milk and he wants her affection. Tam stanya kama asadya mathnantim jananim harihi grihitva dadimanthanam nyashedath pritimavahan. So Harihi, Krishna, he appeared there and stanya kamaha means he is desiring to have her milk, the milk in her breasts, he wants to drink and he grihitva dadimantanam, he catches hold of her churning rod. Dadimanthanam is the churning rod, catches hold of it and he prevents her from churning so that she can feed him milk. And Pritimavahan, he is doing it with affection. There's so much affection between him and his mother, with a lot of affection, and she obviously she accepts it. When her baby comes like that and climbs onto her lap and wants her milk, and he stops her from doing the churning. With so much love, she also accepts that, she embraces him. Suddenly, she finds that in the next room, the kitchen, okay, this is next to the kitchen, so she can see the kitchen. And in the kitchen, the milk which has been kept for boiling actually is boiling over. It has reached its highest temperature and it has begun to spill over. It's boiling and spilling over. So what she does, even as she is feeding Krishna, she realizes the milk has boiled over. So she removes him from her lap and she goes and attends to that milk. She wants to, rushes to the kitchen. That's what we do, no? Suppose we keep milk on the stove, it starts boiling over. Then we would leave everything else, rush there to put off the stove. So she does exactly that. She goes there to remove the pot from the stove, and Krishna is left on the ground. Sanjata kopaspuritaruణाधरं संदर्श्य दधिमन्थभाजनम् भित्वा मृषाश्रुः दृशदश्मनारहो जगास हय्यङ्गवमन्तरं गतः. So Sanjata kopaha, Krishna becomes angry. Okay, we should keep in mind when we say this that Krishna's anger is not like our anger. Our anger comes out of the three gunas because we are under the influence of the three gunas of Prakriti. So Rajo guna, Tamo guna, these gunas actually initiate our anger. But Krishna, when it is described that he becomes angry, it's not because of the three gunas, because he's always above the three gunas, he's beyond them. So this anger is part of his Leela. Okay, he experiences it. Yoga Maya arranges these moods for him and he enjoys that. In pleasure, out of love, he feels angry upon her. Spurita Arunadharam, his lips, his red lips, are now trembling with anger. Sandashya Dadbihi bites his lips with his teeth, and Dadimantha Bhajanam Bhitva. So the pot in which that manthanam is happening, that churning is happening, churning of buttermilk happens, that pot he breaks. He takes up a rod nearby and he breaks that pot out of anger. And then he realizes that he has done something wrong. Mrishashruhu, he starts immediately, he knows, he suspects that his mother will now be upset, so he starts shedding tears, which are mrisha. Mrisha means not real, okay, unreal, fake tears. Okay, so he sheds tears. Mrishashruhu drishadashmana rahaha. He goes out of that place. Antaram gataha means he goes to another place, next room or the next house. And drishadashmana, he stands on the grinding stone and he finds some old butter which has been stored somewhere nearby. Hayyangavam. Hayyangavam here refers to some butter, maybe butter made the previous day. Okay, Hayyangavam jaghasa. He starts consuming that butter. He starts eating that butter. So he has broken the pot, and then tears come in his eyes, thinking that my mother will now come and scold me, and they are fake tears because he has to show that he is unhappy about it. So he runs out of that place before his mother can come back, and now he goes to another place. He stands on a grinding stone and he starts eating some butter which was prepared earlier. Starts eating that butter. It is not fresh butter. So Mother Yashoda, she comes back. She has now taken the pot, the milk pot which was boiling over, and kept it down. Everything is all right in the kitchen. She comes back, and what does she see? She sees Ulu Kalangre Rupari. She does not see her baby, right? She does not see her baby there, and she sees the pot has broken. So then she connects the dots. She realizes that this fellow, because I put him down, he must have got upset and he has now broken the pot. And after breaking the pot, he has left the room and he has gone elsewhere. Ulu Kalangrer Upari Vyavasthitam Markaya Kamam Dadatam Shichisthitam Hayyangavam Chaurya Vishankitekshanam Nirikshya Paschat Sugamagamachanaihi. So Ulukalangrihi. Ulukalam means this mortar. Okay, there are different types of mortars because in the earlier days, people did not have the kind of devices we use today. So different types of stones were used for crushing, grinding, making paste, making powder, etc. So Ulukalam is one such grinding stone, and Angri means the bottom part of it, the foot, the root of that Angri. Yes, this particular grinding stone is turned upside down. So he is standing on top of that. Ulukalangre Rupari Vyavasthitham. Markaya. Marka means monkey. Okay, so Gokula and Vrindavana, Mathura, they are full of monkeys. So Markaya Kamam Dadatam. Kamam here refers to the butter. Shichi Sthitham. Shichi means these ropes. You see, those days, and even today, actually, in many places, things like butter, ghee, milk, etc., they are hung from pots, hung from strings from the ceiling. Using strings, they are kept in pots, and the pots are hung from the ceiling so that animals like dogs, cats, etc., don't get to them, or rats. They are kept at some height. So they are neither touching the ceiling nor are they touching the floor, and they are above the head, so they don't hit our head. And they are floating, they are in the air, and they are hanging with ropes. Okay, that ropes here, shichi. Shichi means in those ropes they are situated, these pots, and in those pots, in this case, butter is stored. So Markaya Kamam Dadatam, Krishna is taking the butter from those pots and feeding the monkeys. She sees this. Mother Yashoda goes to the next room and she sees this. What is she feeding? Hayangavam Chaurya Vishankita Ekshanam. So he has now the fear because he's stealing that butter, right? He has not been authorized to take that butter. He's stealing that butter. So his eyes are filled with that Vishanka, that feeling of guilt. Chaurya Vishanka means he has stolen. He's now a thief, right? So he's a thief of butter. So he's stolen that butter, and his eyes are filled with that that feeling of guilt. And with that feeling of guilt, he's quietly stealing the butter and feeding the monkeys. Nirikshya paschat sutam agamachanaihi. So Yashoda saw this scene, and then she understood what this fellow is now doing. And so she started slowly going behind him so he doesn't see her. She wants to catch him red handed. So she slowly, Sutam Agamatu Shanaihi. Shanaihi means slowly. Slowly, quietly, she approaches him from the behind. Tamayata yashtim prasamikshya satvaraha tatovaruhyaf tatovaruhyapasasarabhitavat गोपन् गोप्यन्वधावन्न यमापयोगिनां क्षमं प्रवेष्टुं तपसेरितं मनः तं आयातयष्टिं not tam sorry tam आयातयष्टिं prasamikshya. Just give me a moment. Tam ayatayashthim prasamikshya satvaraha. So seeing her coming with a stick, yashti means a stick. She's holding a stick in her hand. Prasamikshya, seeing that, suddenly he sees her. She's approaching him with a stick. Satvaraha means immediately. Tato avaruhya gets down from that grinding mortar immediately. Apasasara means he flees that place. He runs away from that place. Bhitavat, not bhitaha. Bhitaha means one who is scared. Bhitavat means as if he is scared. It looks like he is scared. Bhitavat. Gopyanvadhavat. So the gopi, Yashoda, Anvadhavat, she chased him. Okay, so he got down, he saw her coming with a stick, he gets down from the stone, immediately he flees the place, showing fear, and Yashoda chases him, goes behind him. And it's described here, Shivasdevji describes, Yamapa yoginam shramam praveshtum tapaseritam manaha. Na means the great yogis, they are trying to chase him, they are trying to attain him, they are going behind him. But even with all their tapas, their mind, which has now been absorbed in him with the help of tapasya, with tapas, and they are not able to attain him. Such a personality, Mother Yashoda is chasing with a stick in her hand. She is trying to attain him with a stick in her hand. You can see that now she's not doing any tapasya or chanting any mantras. She's just holding a stick in her hand and she's trying to catch him. The great yogis are doing big tapasya, but even after all that big tapasya, they are not able to catch him. And so she chases him and he runs here and there. And she Vasudevji describes how, because she was having her bodily weight and she was heavy in the middle, like typically many of us are, and women particularly have more weight in the middle part of their body. So she's now with great difficulty, she's running behind him. She's trying to, keep up with his pace. And finally, with some difficulty, she chases and she catches him. In the previous shloka, it was said that the yogis, even after huge amount of tapasya, they find it difficult to attain him. But now, with some difficulty like this, running behind him, she catches him. Kritagasam tam prarudantamakshini kashantam anjanmashini swapanina udvikshamanam vayavihvalekshanam haste grihitva bhishayantyavagurat. So what does she do? What would the yogis do? The great yogis, after great tapasya, they attain him and they are so blissful that they have attained him. Their success, life has become a success. They don't want anything more. But what is Mother Yashoda doing? She has now attained him. She has caught him. Kritagasam. Kritagasam means, kritagas means an offender, a criminal or an offender. So she has caught hold of the criminal, the offender. Tam prarudantam means one who is weeping. He's crying now. His tears are coming out of his eyes. He's crying because he has been caught. Akshini kashantam anjanmashini swapanina. His two eyes, they are shedding tears, and what he has done now, he's trying to wipe them like this, and in the process of wiping them, the anjana means the what do you call, the eye ointments which people apply to look more beautiful, the black anjan. So that has been applied to him earlier, and now because he is crying and he is wiping his eyes, that is spread all over his face. His face is now getting smeared with that anjan. So such a Krishna, udvikshamanam bhayavihvalekshanam. So he is looking upwards because she is tall. She is much taller than him. He is looking upwards with bhaya means with fear. Vihvala means his eyes are completely disturbed. His eyes are disturbed with fear. And he is looking upwards at her. And haste grihitva, she caught hold of such a boy, this boy who looked like this. She caught hold of him. Vishayanti avagurat. And in a very scolding way, she was scolding him. And she was trying to tell him that I'm going to now punish you. Avagurat means words which say that now I will teach you. When we scold somebody, now I'm going to teach you a lesson. Those kind of words. Scolding him, she was speaking like that. I'm going to now teach you a lesson, you indisciplined fellow. Okay, she's talking to him like that. So then, seeing that he is very afraid, she decides not to beat him or punish him in some way, but instead, the best punishment for this fellow would be to bind him with a rope. Okay, so she decides that if she has to continue to do her work, her normal work, he won't allow her. Whatever she does, he's not going to allow her. So the best thing is to tie him up somewhere. Okay, sometimes we see parents doing this. I'll tie you up, okay, if you don't behave. And sometimes children get tied up also. So now Sri Vyasdevji says, so she's looking for a rope and she's going to tie him up now. So he says, na chantar na bahiryasya na purvam na pichaparam purvaparam bahischantar jagato yo jagatchayaha. So what kind of a person is she trying to tie up? So here he describes Krishna, nacha antaha, one for whom there is no inside. Na bahihi, there is no outside. Na chantar na bahiryasya, of whom there is neither inside nor outside. Shri Bhagavan is a person for whom it's difficult to say that this is inside him and that is outside him, because he is everything. There's nothing which you can say is inside him or outside him. You can't distinguish between his inside and his outside because everything is him. Na purvam na pichaparam. There is nothing that was before him and there is nothing that is after him, because there is no end for him. There is no beginning for him. There is no end for him. And therefore, you cannot say that this existed before him or that will exist after him. Okay, na purvam na pi chaparam. Na purvam na pi chaparam. So, nacha antaha na bahihi yasya na purvam na pi chaparam. So, one for whom there is no anta, there is no bahihi, there is no purvam, and there is no aparam. But purvaparam bahischantaha jagato yaha means one who himself is the purva and the apara and the bahi and the anta for this entire jagat. Although he himself doesn't have any of these four, he is all the four for the universe. means he is the Purva. He existed before the universe. He is the Apara, means he will continue to exist after this universe dissipates. So he existed before this universe came into existence. And even after this universe becomes non-existent, after it dissolves into Brahma, and even Brahma then merges into, goes to Vaikuntha, even then he will continue to exist. So Purva Param Bahischantar Jagato Yaha Jagatcha, and he himself is the entire universe. The entire universe is also him. Okay, he himself doesn't have anything before him, after him, outside him, inside him, but he himself is the inside, the outside, the before and the after for the universe, and he himself is the entire universe. Everything is him. In other words, there is nothing other than him. Everything is Sri Bhagavan himself, and he exists eternally. Everything else comes and goes, but Bhagavan always exists. He is beyond time. There is no creation, there is no destruction. He is beyond every material phenomenon. Okay, that is what it is saying. Essentially, the shloka says that this little boy whom Mother Yashoda is now just caught hold of, and she's trying to bind and tie up. Who is this person? He's not just some baby, but he's like this. He's everything in existence. She's trying to tie up that thing which represents everything in existence. So Bhagavad Gita essentially comes to this point very quickly. In the Gita, there is no different stories. It's only Arjuna and Krishna. And Krishna is now trying to convince Arjuna to fight the war. And in the course of doing that, he reveals his own nature. And he also reveals Arjuna's nature as a living being. See, all living beings, all of us are essentially Jivatma. So Bhagavan is also Atma. We are also Atma. Bhagavan is also Atma. But Bhagavan is Paramatma. We are Jivatmas. We are a small amsha of Bhagavan. But both of us, Bhagavan and us, we have many, many common properties. And now in the 13th chapter, he touches upon these properties. In the 13th chapter, it began with him describing 6 terms, right? Kshetram, Kshetrajnaha, Jnanam, Jneyam, Purushaha, Prakritihi. So how does he continue? In the last 4 shlokas of the 13th chapter, we see, Sri Bhagavan says, this is the 31st shloka of the 13th chapter, Anaditvat Nirgunatvat Paramatmayam Avyayah Sharirasthopi Kaunteya Na Karoti Na Lipyate. He says Anaditvat. Anadi means because of his being without a beginning. There's no beginning. Nirgunatvat, beyond the gunas. Param Atma Ayam Avyayah. So this can be taken to refer to both the Jivatma and the Paramatma. The word Paramatma here, you can see in the middle of this line, this word Paramatma can be broken in 2 ways. One is as one word, Paramatma, that is Bhagavan, or Param Atma, the Atma, Jivatma, which is Param, means beyond the 3 gunas. Atma is always beyond the 3 gunas, although previous word Nirgunatvam is given there. So this first line can be taken to refer to both the Jivatma and the Paramatma, because it describes all the properties which are common to them. Anaditvat, Nirgunatvat, Anadi, they are both beginningless, they are both beyond the 3 gunas of Prakriti, and they are Avyaya, means they don't have any Vyaya. Unka Vyaya kabhi nahi hota hai. They are inexhaustible, they don't become depleted. They always exist like that. Sharirasthopi Kaunteya na karoti na lipyate, and they are present in the body, in this material body. When he's talking about Shariram here, it refers to this material body, because in the 13th chapter, the word Kshetram is used. And Kshetrajnaha is the one who resides in the Kshetra, the Atma. So Sharirastho api Kaunteya, O Kaunteya Arjuna, even though they live in the body, na karoti na lipyate. He neither does anything, nor does he get smeared by anything. Material matter actually does not smear the Jivatma. It's only out of Maya that the Jivatma thinks that he is part of matter. Otherwise, his original nature, he is not part of matter. Of course, here the word na karoti refers to, actually, it can refer to Paramatma also. The Jivatma, it's very clear, na karoti. He never does anything. The Prakriti is doing everything. In the same way, the Paramatma also, it is said that he is the Karanam, he is Sarva Karana Karanam. At the same time, he doesn't do anything himself. He just wishes. Ichchati. He just wishes, and his Prakriti does everything for him. O son of Kunti, Kaunteya, due to being beginningless and due to being free from material attributes, this Jivatma, which is superior, Param, to Prakriti, is inexhaustible. Though residing in the material body, he neither does action nor is smeared by Prakriti. Yatha sarvagatam saukshmyat akasham nopalipyate sarvatravasthito dehe tathatmanopalipyate. So to explain what he said in the previous shloka about na lipyate, does not get smeared, he explains here, just like the akash. Akash means what? Space. The word in Sanskrit for space is akash. So space is present everywhere. Space pervades everything, right? In this material universe, everywhere there is space. In every inside every object, there is space. There's no place where space is not present, right? Even within an object, we say that even modern science, what does modern science say about what is inside anything? Everything is made of molecules and atoms. And what are atoms made of? Atoms are made up of electrons, a nucleus, which has protons and neutrons, and then electrons going around them. And what is present inside the atom? A lot of space. A lot of space in which these things are present. Electrons, protons, neutrons. They're basically charges, different types of charge, right? So there is space even inside the smallest thing, the atom. Everywhere there is space. But space, Akash, does not get smeared by anything. Even though it is present everywhere, it is in contact with everything, everything is in contact with space, it does not get smeared by it. Okay? It doesn't get smeared. Nothing sticks to it. It doesn't stick to anything. Everything floats in it, everything moves in it, but nothing smears it. So in the same manner, the Jivatma, he says, is sarvatra avastito dehe. Inside the deha, the Jivatma is present everywhere. The Jivatma pervades the entire body. Our entire body we are pervading. We, the Jivatma, pervade our body. Even though we are not this body, we pervade this body. And because we pervade the body, we are able to sense. Suppose somebody touches my foot. Okay. Even though I am not my foot, I can feel it because I am pervading the foot. So I am present everywhere, but no upalipyate. The Atma actually is not smeared. The Atma does not become the body, or the Atma does not get tainted by the body. The Atma by itself always is pure. Out of misconception, the Atma may perceive that it is the body. So it's only a misperception. Space, though present everywhere in the universe, is not smeared by its surroundings due to being subtle. Saukshmyata, the reason given here is it's subtle, means it is not of the same nature. It's of a subtle nature. They are two different things, so they cannot mix with each other. Similarly, the Jivatma, though present everywhere in the body, is not smeared by it. Yatha prakashayatyekah kritsnam lokamimam ravihi kshetram kshetri tatha kritsnam prakashayati bharata. So just like the sun, it illuminates the entire world, even though it's present in one place. It's only one object, the sun. It illuminates the entire world. Yatha prakashayati ekah kritsnam lokam imam ravihi. Tatha kshetram kshetri kritsnam prakashayati. Similarly, the kshetri is the one who lives inside the kshetram. That is the jivatma. So another word used for jivatma here is the kshetri. The kshetri, what does he do? Kshetram prakashayati. He lights up the whole body. Means he fills the body with consciousness. There's consciousness, experience of consciousness in the body is because of the consciousness of the Jivatma. The body by itself has no consciousness. The Jivatma's consciousness is experienced by the Jivatma. The Jivatma is the experiencer of his own consciousness through his body. So just like the sun, although present in only one place, illuminates the entire world. Okay? Actually, in our Sanskriti, we don't even say illuminates the solar system. We say the entire universe, the Jagat, not just the solar system with 9 planets, but the entire Jagat is illuminated by the sun. Okay. So similarly here, the entire body is illuminated by the Jivatma with its consciousness. O Bharata, just like one sun lights up the entire world or the entire universe, the Jivatma residing in the Kshetra lights up the entire kshetra, the body. Now the last shloka, the final concluding shloka of the 13th chapter. Kshetra kshetrajnayorevam antaram jnana chakshusha bhuta prakriti mokshancha ye viduhu yanti te param, ye vidur yanti te param. So kshetra kshetrajnayor evam antaram. The difference between the kshetra, the body, and the jivatma. You see, this is a very, very basic thing that the Bhagavad Gita teaches us. That we are not the body, we are the jivatma, and we are always different from the body. We are consciousness, we occupy the body, we fill the body with consciousness. And one who with jnana chakshusha, with the eyes of knowledge, with the eye of knowledge. This is the knowledge that the Bhagavad Gita is giving us. With the eye of this knowledge, one who is able to clearly see this. So seeing this means what? Not just theoretically accepting it, but practically living by it. Our practical life is influenced by this knowledge that we are not this body. Therefore, our priorities in life are accordingly shaped by knowing that we are not this body. What happens to such a person? Bhuta prakriti mokshancha ye viduhu yanti te param. Such a person who knows this very well through his eyes of knowledge gets moksha from bhuta prakriti, from this material prakriti in which he is now residing. He gets moksha, he gets liberated. He gets liberated doesn't mean he dies. It means that he becomes free from all the afflictions of material world. Material world afflicts us in so many ways. It's disturbing us. It's causing us to feel anxiety, depression, worries, so many worries, stress, burnout, or you can say desires, different types of experiences of, you can say, happiness and misery contrasting with each other, etc., etc. Right? So this he becomes completely free from. This is called moksha. So even though living in this body, a person who becomes free from this is said to be a mukta or a liberated person. In this manner, those who, through the lens of jnana, know the difference between the kshetra and the kshetrajna, and the means by which one is freed, and the means by which one is freed from prakriti, attains the supreme state. One who knows this, he attains the supreme state, which is mukti according to the Bhagavad Gita. But even higher than mukti, the Bhagavad Gita also talks about bhakti. Right? We will come back to bhakti now. So with this, we conclude the 13th chapter, and in the next class, we will go on to the next chapter. But before we do that, we have to complete the story. Mother Yashoda is now trying to bind Krishna. So does she manage to bind him? Let's go forward and see that. Tam matvatmajam avyaktam martyalingam adhoksha gopiko lukhale damna babandha prakritam yatha. So thinking that this is just my baby, even though he is avyakta, right? He is unmanifest, but he manifests martyalingam. He takes the appearance of a human being, a human baby. He is avyakta. So thinking that such a person is actually my baby, and he is adokshaja. Adokshaja means a person for whom the pratyaksha jnana, adokshajam, akshajam. Akshajam means pratyaksha jnana, the knowledge we get by sense perception through our senses like the eyes, the ears, the nose, our touch, smell, etc. Through these different senses, we perceive knowledge, we get knowledge. But Sri Bhagavan is beyond this knowledge. Adhokshaja means this knowledge is inferior to him. Through this knowledge, we can't understand him, we can't realize him, we can't see Bhagavan, we can't smell him directly, we can't hear him. We have to go inwards. Through our gross senses, we cannot perceive him. That's the meaning of Adokshaja. One for whom this pratyaksha knowledge is inferior. So such a person, she thought, is my own son. Gopiko Ulukhale. Damna Ulukhalam means this mortar. This Gopika, this Yashoda, Damna Babanda. She was trying to bind him. Babanda actually means she bound. Now, in the following shlokas, it's described how she bound him. Okay, she bound him with the rope. Prakritam yata. Prakritam means as if he is an ordinary child. I think treating him like an ordinary child. Now she is binding him, and what happens as she is binding him? Taddama badhyamanasya swarbhakasya kritagasah dvengulonam abhurtena sandadhenyaccha gopika. So she was trying to, as she was binding him with the rope, thinking of him as an offender, as a person who has done wrong, and to prevent him from doing further wrong, as she was binding him, she found that the rope was dvengulam. Dvengulam means the width of two fingers. Suppose I hold two fingers, how wide is it? This much wide. So the width of two fingers, the rope fell short by that much. She was trying to bind him, but the rope was not sufficient. And how short was it? It was short by the width of two fingers. So what did she do? Sandhade anyacha gopika. She went and brought another rope. She just went immediately. This rope she kept aside and she brought another rope. Then what happened? Yadasit tadapi nyunam tenanyadapi sandhade tenanyadapi sandhade tadapi dvengulam nyunam yadadatta bandhanam. So she went and brought another rope and she started tying him with that rope. And that rope also fell short by a width of two fingers. And then she brought one more and she found that the third one also fell short by a width of exactly two fingers. Evam swageha damani yashoda sandhadatyapi gopinam susmayantinam smayanti vismita bhavat. So in this manner, she went and brought all the ropes in the house. One by one she went, she brought a rope, and she brought the next rope. When she was bringing it, she thought this one will definitely be enough. It's longer than the previous one. But when she was actually tying, she found it to be 2 fingers short. So she went on bringing ropes one by one, and she was tying, and she could not manage to tie him. And Gopinam, and all the gopis had gathered by then around her because they knew something is going on here. So they came there and they saw and they were watching this scene of Yashoda going and bringing ropes and trying to tie him. But and as they are seeing this, they started smiling. They started smiling and laughing. And she also started smiling. Smayanti, she also started smiling. Are kya ho raha hai? And Vismita Bhavat, she became perplexed. Vismita means perplexed. She couldn't understand why it is happening. Okay, smiling. She's also smiling. The gopis are smiling, and so many ropes are lying there, but none of them has been able to tie that little boy. Swamatu swinnagatraya visrasta kabarasrajaha drishtva parishramam krishnaha kripayasit swabandhane. So seeing this, Krishna silently watching this, keep in mind that Krishna is now standing there with fear in his eyes. His face has been smeared with his tears and kajal and everything is covering his eyes. And he's watching her, but he's now realizing that my poor mother, she is dead tired. Swinnagatra. Swinnagatra means whose body and limbs are all sweating. She's going up and down, bringing rope. She has managed to catch him. She's doing a lot of work and he's giving her lots and lots of more work. And she's sweating. And seeing that, Visrasta kabaras rajaha means the hair and the flowers which have been set in her hair on the backside, all the malati flowers. Malati means jasmine. She's wearing jasmine on that day. So the jasmine flowers which are decorating her hair, they have all become loose. They are falling now. They're all falling all over the place because she's going up and down. She's running. She's sweating. Her hair has become loose. Drishtva parishramam, seeing all this, seeing that my mother has now been put to a lot of labor, Krishna kripaya asit swabandhane. He became very compassionate. Out of his kripa, he allowed himself to get bound. And so with that final rope, she was able to bind him. She finally bound him. Okay, so this Leela of Bhagavan is called the Damodara-li because Dama means the rope, Udaraha means the waist. So Damaha Udaraha or Damaha Udare Yasya Saha. So one on whose waist the rope is present. She has bound him on his waist with the rope to the mortar. She has bound him. Evam sandarshita hyanga harina bhrityavashyata swavashenapi krishnena yasyedam seshwaram vashe. So in this manner, Hari, Krishna, showed his Bhrityavashyata, means his nature by which he comes under the control of his servants. Bhrityaha means servant. His Bhrityavashyata means his tendency, his nature, his property by which he allows himself to come under the subjugation of his own servants. Swavashenapi Krishnena yasya idam seshwaram vashe. For whom the Ishvara, the like Shiva, Brahma, and all the other great Ishvaras in this universe, the masters in this universe like Indra, Brahma, Surya, they're all the deities whom everybody worships. Shiva, they're all under his control. Everybody is under his control, and he is under the control of his bhaktas, his bhrityas. Nemam virincho na bhavo na shrirapyanga sanshaya prasadam lebhire gopi yattat prapa vimuktidat. So, this person, Krishna, is of the nature that Virincha means Brahma, na Bhavaha, Bhavaha means Shiva, na Shrihi, Shrihi means Lakshmi, who is Angashanshaya. Lakshmi always is on his chest, right? She's always residing on the chest of Vishnu, Krishna. So none of them, prasadham lebhire gopiyat. What prasada means? This kind of prasadam. Prasadam means this love, this bond by which Yashoda could run behind him. The great personalities are actually doing tapasya to see him, to attain him, but she just runs behind him with a stick and she's able to bind him with a rope. This kind of prasadam, okay, that prasadam of pure love. The word prasadam in Sanskrit also means, you see, normally when we say prasadam, we think of food, right? But here it does not mean food. It means that happiness, that sense of fulfillment, inner fulfillment, that complete satisfaction, complete joy, complete love, that she experienced, which neither Brahma nor Shiva nor even Lakshmi, his own wife, experienced. This Gopi Yashoda experienced that. Yattat prapa vimuktidat, by virtue of that love that she has, that he has given her. Nayam sukhapo bhagavan dehinam gopika sutaha jnaninam chatma bhutanam yatha bhakti matamiha. So this Bhagavan, his nature is that he is not easy to attain. Sukhapaha means one who is easy to attain. Nayam sukhapaha, he is not easy to attain. Dehinam, Dehinam means those who are absorbed in their respective bodies, who are very body conscious, means materially conscious, conscious of the enjoyment of this material body. Gopika Sutaha refers to Krishna, who is the son of the Gopika. Jnaninam, so people who are materialistic, they cannot attain him. The people who are doing sakama karma, people who use dharma, see, part of dharma is to acquire material possessions and enjoy this material existence, right? They don't attain him. They are not able to attain him. Jnaninam, the jnanis, what to speak of the materialists, even the jnanis, atma bhutanam, the jnanis are always absorbed in the self. They're trying to get knowledge of the self. Even they are not able to attain him, or they attain him with great difficulty. But the ease with which the bhaktas attain him, that they cannot attain. That ease they don't have. Yatha bhakti matam. Bhakti matam means those endowed with bhakti. Bhakti is the process through which one very easily attains this perfection of connecting with Bhagavan and experiencing that pure love. So what exactly is meant by bhakti? As I have said before, bhakti is a simple process by which we consciously endeavor to purify our mind, our senses, our heart. By purification, not only do we become peaceful and happier ourselves, we also become eligible to attain that relationship with Bhagavan, to connect with Bhagavan, and to get his guidance, to develop that love, to become his servants. Okay, that is the greatest thing in existence. There's nothing more than that. In the process of bhakti, it is not that we diminish, we don't become less, we become more. It's not that we have to give up everything. Whatever is bad in us, whatever is useless to us, whatever is disturbing to us, will automatically leave us. We don't have to give it up. Right? We have to, of course, ensure that we don't do wrong things. We have to give up doing anything wrong that we were doing before. Okay, which is what we would want to do even otherwise. Even those without bhakti, want to live a ethical life because they can then be peaceful in the society, right? So that we have to do when we come to bhakti as well. Give up doing wrong things, unethical things, wrong things, sinful things. That is given up, but we don't have to give up our house or give up our family or give up our children. Okay, this is a wrong conception that if you start doing bhakti or start doing yoga, then you have to give up all these things. No, whatever is wrong inside that, if anything is disturbing to us, those disturbing things automatically leave us. Because it's just like when we bring light into a room, suppose there is a dark room and we take a candle and go inside that room, or we take a torch and go inside the room, automatically the darkness in the room diminishes or dissipates, right? You don't have to remove the darkness first and then bring the light inside. Bringing the light inside is enough to remove the darkness. By itself, the darkness goes away. In the same manner, when bhakti is brought into our life, automatically all the dark things in our existence, they will leave us. And we start feeling happier. We become more confident. We get more clarity in our mind. And we are able to sense the presence of Bhagavan in our life as we start realizing, or as we start hankering for that feeling of love towards him, right? Automatically these things happen. This is about bhakti, and bhakti is so simple and easy to practice. I've said before that the simplest practices of bhakti involve doing japa of his name, for example, the Hare Krishna mantra or any other mantra which the Guru has given us, and reading the Shastra, books like the Bhagavad-gita, the Bhagavatam, the Puranas, the Mahabharatam, reading the Shastra and contemplating upon their meanings. These are all the simple activities of bhakti. Of course, apart from so many other activities like visiting a temple regularly, doing some seva in the temple, doing go seva, having prasadam offered to Bhagavan, even eating good food, prasadam, sweet food offered to Bhagavan, that is also considered as bhakti. That's an important activity of bhakti. So bhakti is very sweet, very easy to do. It's filled with activities which keep us alive, which brings our consciousness to life. And so bhakti is something that is very relevant for us today. It is not something meant for sentimental people, emotional people. All those are misconceptions. Bhakti is meant for the intelligent people, the logical people. And uh, with these words, I will stop for today's class, and we will continue discussing more. Next chapter, 14th chapter, begins from the next week. Very interesting chapter, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. A complete analysis of the three gunas is done there. And we will really enjoy as we go through that, and we will continue to hear more Leela from the Bhagavatam. Thank you very much, and I'll be very happy to take your questions, comments, etc. now.
Pranam, sir.
Yeah, Pranam Sarthak.
Sir, while narrating the Leela, drawing parallels to how the yogis Sri Bhakti, so austerities and meditating on him, teach him. So, can you also enlighten or elaborate more on the conclusion? So, for example, in this Leela, when Ma Yashoda was trying to catch hold of Sri Krishna and trying to bind him. So she was able to finally catch him and then was able to also tie him up. So here we see the Prem Leela as in how Sri Bhagwan is enjoying himself and providing the opportunities to his bhaktas to perform such activities such as binding, say scolding him or tying him up. But how would you talk about say the jnanis? So once they are able to catch hold of him, now they are free from the cycle of life and birth, and now are in the Satchidanand Swarup. What would you say about that?
The Jnani's realization of Bhagavan is very, it's not a personal relationship like Yashoda has with him. The Jnanis think about him in very abstract terms. They think of him as pure consciousness, as the supreme, all encompassing thing, that supreme, all encompassing consciousness of which I am a part. Some Jnanis think that they are a part of that, a small amsha of that. Some Jnanis think that they are that, they are one with that. They are not different from that. There are different schools of thought within the Jnanis. But whichever way they think about him, what is common is that for them, the jnana is the key element, the knowledge about him and realization of that knowledge, being conscious of that knowledge, becoming conscious of that knowledge and soaking themselves in that knowledge. That is where their happiness lies. But for Yashoda, you see that knowledge is irrelevant. That knowledge is not at all in her conscious mind. What is for her important and what she is relishing is that bond with that Bhagavan. And the bond is so pure that Bhagavan casts his Maya on her. By Yoga Maya, she doesn't even know that he is Bhagavan. She thinks he's a child. So on the one hand, we have a very impersonal understanding of Bhagavan, which has no personal bond, right? Which by itself also, you see, when I say this, you should understand that compared to what we are now, compared to our current state, even that state of a jnani is far superior. Even if we get there, it's a great achievement, right? Compared to where we are now. But however, knowing that there is a much superior state to that also, like this, like what people like Yashoda and the gopis in Vrindavan, other gopis and the gopas, the boys, and even the animals, the cows, calves, uh, what they experience, that kind of pure love, then we should aim for that. We should not be aiming for what the jnanis are achieving. Does it answer your question fully, or?
Sir, in my understanding, so we when we are talking about jnani in these sessions, so generally we talk about the jnani who is looking at the supreme as Brahman, or say beyond form and form, something like that. But sir, also in what I understand is, I understand that even Sri Hanuman was a jnani. So he, in his understanding, he knew that okay, Brahman alone is everywhere, and that Brahman alone is manifested in the state of Sri Ram. So for him, his bhakti and Bhagwan, so his bhakti was towards Sri Ram, and his Bhagwan was Sri Ram.
Yeah,
So he believed that everything is Sri Ram itself, just manifesting different forms.
yeah.
So he even displayed a strong bhakti even while retaining that jnana. So I feel that uh, in our discussions, I mean, if bhakti is based on jnana, then a person would remain in a state of bliss for I mean forever. So Shri Hanuman was never perturbed, even when say Lakshmanji was hit by the Shakti.
Yeah.
So he went ahead to find a solution, but he knew that everything is being arranged by Sri Bhagwan himself. It is his Leela alone. But here in this case, or maybe some in other case, because we don't have that knowledge about Sri Bhagwan, so even if they are enjoying that Leela, but there would be some anxieties, like you said in the Leela itself. So there are moments wherein the Gokula people are perplexed by what is happening. But Sri Hanuman, because he has that jnana, and that jnana is driving his bhakti, so he remains in that state of peace, even while having bhakti to Sri Ram.
Well, yeah, Hanuman has Jnana, but he's not the Jnani referred to here because he has a personal bond. Jnana is a byproduct of Bhakti. When somebody has Shuddha Bhakti, then Jnana follows. The Bhakta is not devoid of Jnana. Do you follow? But Hanuman's Bhakti is of the nature that he is always conscious. His Jnana is such that he is always conscious that this person is Bhagavan himself and I am his servant. Like Devaki, for example. Devaki, she is the mother of Bhagavan, but the difference between her and Yashoda is that she is conscious that this is Bhagavan himself, my son. If you see what happens when he appears from her womb, what does she do? She bows down and offers prayers. First, her husband offers prayers, and then she offers prayers. And if you read those prayers, I recited them in the Janmashtami class. And in those prayers, you will see that she is talking about his nature as the origin of the universe. Everything comes from him, everything dissolves into him, right? So even though it's her own baby, she has the feeling of vatsalya, she has the feeling of parental love, parental affection towards that baby. She's not conscious of his nature as Bhagavan.
Ah,
Both exist together. So that jnana is present with the bhakti. Jnana is a byproduct of bhakti. But in the case of Yashoda and the people in Vraja, okay, the bhakti is of such a nature, that's called Vraj Bhakti, that Bhagavan makes them forget because he wants to enjoy the most natural interactions with them. He wants to relish that. Their purity is of that nature, that he makes them completely unaware that he is Bhagavan, because that is irrelevant to him. He doesn't actually himself cherish that nature the most. He cherishes his nature of Raja the most. That's his most natural self. So the anxieties that they face are not the anxieties that you and I are facing because of three gunas. They are never under three gunas. They are completely under Yoga Maya. They are not under Mahamaya, these people, these Shuddha Bhaktas. They come with him, they enjoy the Leelas with him, and those anxieties are also in love. You see, they always feel that love. Whenever there is anything, for example, suppose an Asura comes and takes away Bhagavan, okay, like Kaliya or Trinasura, Trinavarta. Trinavarta we heard about in the last class. Trinavarta takes away Krishna and they are feeling anxious, but that anxiety is not because of the three gunas of Prakriti. It's not out of that ignorance. It's out of Yogamaya's arrangement that their separation, that viraha from Krishna becomes very strong. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? They're looking for him. That anxiety. That is different from what we would feel. You follow?
Yes. But sir, again, if I draw parallels to say Sri Hanuman, so in his bhakti there would be no anxiety at all, because he
No,
is of
there
complete
is
cognizance that everything is Sri Ram.
there is anxiety in a different way, because he is looking for Mother Sita. He doesn't know where she is. They are searching for Sita, right? That is anxiety. They are searching with anxiety.
But in his
similar. It is
belief, he
similar to
knows
this.
that Sri Ram will arrange for her discovery.
No. That these people also will feel that Vishnu will help us to find him. That, you see, when Hanuman is feeling that, it's not like his mind doesn't have anxiety. That same anxiety which is nirgunatmaka, that anxiety is there in his mind too. He's looking for Mother Sita. It's not the same as our anxiety. Suppose I lose something. Suppose I lose the keys of my car, okay, or the keys to my house. I come back to my house from somewhere and then I don't find the keys in my bag. Then I'm searching for the key, right? There I'm getting stressed out. I'm getting burnt out. Maybe I'll start cursing, whatever. But that is different from the anxiety that people like Hanuman or the gopis are facing. They are Shuddha Bhaktas. Their minds are beyond the gunas. They are thinking of Ram all the time. And they are in great anxiety, thinking, how do I make this happen? How do I, where will the solution come from? What should I do next? They're searching. They encounter Rakshasas on the way, right? Somebody sets his tail on fire. So all kinds of things he has to deal with. So he deals with them. Anxiety is there, but this anxiety is the same as what the gopis are facing. So the same category.
And sir, if I may extend this conversation, so we again have another example. Say, for example, Prahlad Maharaj. See, he even was driven by jnana and he had strong manifestation of bhakti.
Yeah.
So what I know so far is that he displayed fearlessness. So even if he was attacked by anything, he did not feel anxious at all. Or say Raja Ambarish. So even when he saw Vasa Rishi's creature, he was unmoved because they displayed that fearlessness.
Yeah.
So isn't
Anxiety
that
that we face fear? For example, the kind of fear that we have, right? We become confused. When fear comes, we become confused, we become angry, we feel helpless. They feel similar things which are not trigunatmaka. That's what I'm trying to convey to you. They also feel, they are not emotionless. You see, when you become nirgunatmaka, you don't become emotionless. You develop a different dimension of emotion. The kind of emotions we have under trigunas, they have without the trigunas. They are shuddha. So that bhav, there is bhav in that. You get what I'm saying? It's of a different
so
nature.
basically our display of emotions is different from their display of
Yeah, they are not emotionless. They are not emotionless. This is a misunderstanding. That once you become
they are full
emotional.
of love.
Hmm?
Sir, I
Yeah,
understand that they're full of love.
yeah, but love manifests in different ways. Love manifests in the form of that pure form of jealousy. There's a jealousy there also, irsha. there is anger, Raudra Bhav is there in love, right? So different kinds of emotions which we face here, the similar words are used, but they are not the same. They are not prakritik. What we experience is prakritik bhav. They are aprakritik. They are pure. They are free from the gunas. Therefore, the nature of the emotion there is always imbued with love. Love is the basis for everything. It is Shuddhata. There is Jnana and there is Prem. Those who have Prem have Prem. Those who don't have Prem at least have the Jnana, like the Jnanis.
Right. So even to experience this prema, one would have to stay away from mukti. Because if one attains mukti,
Yeah.
then one would go beyond all of these leelas also.
No, those who attain Mukti also, like the four Kumaras, for example, the sons of Brahma, Sanat Kumar, Sanak Kumar, Sanantana, Sanatana. So they went to Vaikunta once for something, and then they smelt the tulasi leaves. Okay, until then they were just jnanis. They didn't have prem. But the moment they smelt that tulasi leaf, they became attracted to him. So it is said, Atma Ramascha Munayaha Nirgranthahapi Urukrame Kurvanti Ahetukim Bhaktim. So the Atma Ramas, those who are jnanis, who are getting pleasure in the Atma, completely getting complete joy in the Atma, pure consciousness, having a real good time in that. Even they, when they when they come in contact with Krishna, they develop bhakti. They become attracted to him. And when they develop that attraction, they perform ahetuki bhakti, means spontaneous bhakti, which doesn't have any logical cause. Spontaneous love, like falling in love. Like in this material world, we talk about, two people suddenly see each other, they don't know, there's no logic. They suddenly decide we are made for each other. Okay. We hear of these stories sometimes. So, of course, I'm not saying that is the same as this. That is not at all the same as this. But there too, spontaneity. And that spontaneity is where love has no logic. There's no logic. It is just spontaneous love, become attracted to Sri Bhagavan, and then you just become his servant. I just want to serve him. I don't want anything in return. That feeling comes. So Gyanis also, if they are blessed by a bhakta, by some kripa, they can become attracted to Bhagavan. So even if you become a Gyani, okay, I wouldn't say you should become, but I'm saying if you happen to become, because of not following bhakti now, then in the future also you can still get bhakti because of this kripa.
I believe that jnana and bhakti are parallel. I mean, they can coexist. It's not actually exclusive.
Of
But
course,
as you said, jnana
it's
means
a byproduct of bhakti. Yes. So when bhakti comes, Gyan follows her. In the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, the metaphor of a servant is used. Just like bhakti is a queen, the queen is followed by her maid servants. So that when the queen of bhakti moves forward, the maid servants like bhukti and mukti, jnana and bhukti means material enjoyment. That also follows. So bhakti is not devoid of, because when you have bhakti, then this material world actually appears more beautiful. And so whatever you are enjoying, for example, gulab jamun, let me take the metaphor of gulab jamun. Even before bhakti, gulab jamun was tasty. But when you get bhakti and then taste gulab jamun as prasadam of Bhagwan, it appears even more delicious. So by getting bhakti, you are not losing anything. You're actually gaining even better life, a better standard of life in this world. Do you
yes,
follow? This is the
yes,
life of
yes.
a bhakta. And that is why it's important to bring others to bhakti, inform others about bhakti, because if they don't have bhakti, then they are losing something which they could have got. There's an opportunity lost there.
Yes.
You're able to
Thank you, sir.
understand. Yeah.
Yes.
Good. If there are no further questions, then let us close for today. We will do the Mangala Charanam and we will also chant the Hare Krishna mantra 3 times together. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaah Gobrahmanebhyo Shubhamastu Nityam Lokas Samastas Sukhino Bhavantu. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Dhanyavadaha. Thank you very much. We'll meet again next Sunday.